Welcome to True Stories, where the most chilling tales aren't made up, they're remembered. Tonight's story takes us back to a time before dating apps ruled our phones, when connection came through screens, but danger still wore a smile. One woman thought she was finding love online. Instead, she uncovered something much darker, and it followed her home. Stay with us as we unravel a true account of trust, deception, and a night that could have ended very differently. This is not fiction. This is a warning. In the fall of 2005, before swipes and algorithms ran the world of dating, finding connection online felt more like walking blindfolded through fog. No apps, no filters, just clunky websites and hope. I was 27, living a quiet life in Lincoln Heights, Ohio. I worked HR at a modest manufacturing firm. My days were methodical, emails, payroll, policy meetings, but the nights grew still and hollow. Most of my friends were either planning weddings or relocating for work. I wasn't miserable, just untethered. I joined a site called Heartline, the one that marketed itself as serious. Not a place for flings or nonsense. That's what drew me in. My profile was plain, honest. I didn't pretend to hike or own a dog. I wrote about my love for Southern Gothic novels, my inability to cook rice properly, and how I unwind watching outdated crime documentaries. 3 weeks in, I got a message. His name was Lucas. At least that's what the site said. One photo. Crisp. Polished. A man in his early 30s standing in front of a university campus wall, wearing a navy sweater and slacks. He looked like someone who knew how to spell empathy, clean-cut, safe, almost too safe. But I was lonely. I replied. Our chats felt ordinary, work talk, food recommendations, sarcastic jokes about 90s movies. He never really answered much about himself, only vague lines like, "Life's been busy," or "I'm between places." It was subtle, the way he dodged detail, but I let it go. After all, he was polite, friendly, harmless, right? 2 weeks later, he asked to meet in person. I hesitated, then said yes. We chose a new cafe downtown, Miller's Oak. I arrived early and sat at the bar, swirling a cranberry tonic. 10 minutes passed, and then he walked in. My stomach twisted. The man in front of me looked nothing like the photo. Thinner, hairline fading, nose crooked slightly to the side. He blinked constantly, like the lights were stabbing his eyes. His shirt was rumpled, his loafers unevenly scuffed. But he didn't acknowledge it, not a word. "Hey, you must be Camille," he said, sliding into the seat beside me. "Yeah, you're Lucas?" I asked, though I already knew. He smiled. "Of course, you're even more beautiful in person." I smiled weakly, fingers tightening around my glass, told myself I could leave after one drink. But he kept them coming. He ordered the next round before I could finish the first. Then shots, spiced cinnamon things that burned worse than they tasted. He laughed loud, sat too close. His breath smelled like rot and cheap whiskey. By the 5th drink, I could barely form a thought. "I think I'm done for the night," I said, sliding my glass away. He offered to walk me to my car. I told him I had taken a cab. Then came the offer. "I can drive you home." I didn't want to, but I was dizzy. My judgment, soaked in liquor, caved. The drive was short, 8 minutes. When we arrived at my street, he didn't unlock the doors. Instead, he turned to me and said, "So, you want to hang out for a bit before you head in?" My stomach nodded. "No, let me out." "Come on," he whispered, inching closer. "We've been flirting for weeks. Don't back out now." He smelled like nerves and sour liquor. Still, he didn't move. I repeated it, firmer this time. "Let me out." He sighed, hand on the lock. like he was the one being inconvenienced. I just don't get why you'd waste my time if this wasn't going anywhere. Eventually, the doors clicked open. I pushed it wide and stumbled out, heart thudding. He muttered something ugly behind me, but I didn't turn back. I ran to the door, slammed it shut, locked every bolt. Then I sat on the floor, shaking until the silence returned. The next morning, there were flowers on my back step, roses, a slanted note. Sorry about last night. I drank too much. Forgive me, Lucas. I tossed them, but it didn't stop. Every few days, something new arrived. A book I'd mentioned, a candle, a plush toy, always with a note, always with his name. Then it got worse. A pair of earrings, a perfume I hadn't worn in years, since high school. The exact brand. He'd been digging, watching, or both. I kept the notes in a drawer. I didn't go to the police. Shame kept me silent. I didn't want to explain how I'd ended up giving my address to a stranger who lied from day one. Instead, I told my older brother, Marcus. He drove down, changed my locks, and set up a motion camera out back. It didn't catch much, a squirrel, a blur. Then, one morning, I snapped. I remembered the old Polaroid camera tucked away in my closet. I loaded it, placed my silver 380, gifted years ago after a break-in, on the bed, and took the shot. White linen, cold steel, quiet warning. In thick red ink, I scribbled, "Next time you step on my property, this will be the last thing you see." I sealed the photo in an envelope and left it on the back porch. The next day, it was gone. He never came back. 3 years later, I was at dinner with my husband, Elijah. We were celebrating his promotion at a steakhouse near downtown. That's when I saw him, sitting alone at the bar, older, shrinking, skin pale and loose like his mask had slipped for good. He looked at me, froze. Elijah noticed. Without a word, my husband stood. Lucas, if that was his name, threw some cash down and disappeared before a single word passed between them. I didn't feel brave. I didn't feel victorious. I just felt haunted. Because I knew, somewhere out there, another woman might be reading his messages right now, thinking she'd found someone safe. And I prayed she wouldn't let him drive her home. Moral of the story: trust your instincts, even when they whisper. A stranger's charm is no substitute for caution. Loneliness doesn't justify ignoring red flags. Your safety is never a price worth negotiating.